going to look some more at solving nonlinear systems of equations today. So first off, we're going to do a little word problem. We want two numbers that have a sum of 17 and a product of 42. So if we're talking about having a sum of 17, that means they need to add up to get you 17. And a product of 42 would mean that when you multiply them together, you're going to end up with 42. So there's our system of two equations. I'm going to do substitution and solve my first equation for y. Elimination is not really an option because you have xy instead of x and y as separate terms in your separate equation. So plugging that back into my other equation, I end up with 17x minus x squared equals 42, which is a quadratic equation. So if you go ahead and get 0 on one side and then use your favorite quadratic solving method, I'm going to factor, but I'm first going to factor out a -1 because I'm not a fan of factoring when my coefficient on my x squared term's negative. I'm going to factor that into, let's see, things that multiply to 42, x minus 14, and x minus 3 is going to get us there. So you end up with x equals 14 and 3. So really that's x, and y is, if you go back to your equation, 17 minus that. So if x is 14, that means your second number, y, is going to be 3. And if you go with your other x value, you'll have 17 minus 3 is 14. So in either case this time, but not always, your solutions are 14 and 3. We're going to do some solving by graphing, which will give us all the real valued solutions to our system of equations. Won't give us any non-real complex ones, but sometimes, depending on our situation, we just want the real valued ones. I'm going to graph these using Desmos. So if you graph your two functions, you get that these two intersect at 0, 0 and 1.587, 1.587. One thing to be careful of is make sure you have zoomed out and looked at all of the possible points where your system intersects at. Don't miss any. If you go to B, it's got a log function and an exponential function. So I'm going to delete those out here and type in my new ones. The logarithmic function is in the functions menu under miscellaneous. And then make sure you have the x plus 4 inside parentheses. Make sure the plus 4 is not separate on the outside. And then I've got negative e to the x, and you can just use the ABC menu for e. Don't forget my negative there. Now it looks like those just intersect at a single point, so that value for my xy pair is going to be my solution to that system of equations. And a quick reminder, if your two functions do not intersect, then you have no solution.